Hello, everyone. I am Ben from Connecticut Local, and today we are here with Kimberly. She provides in-home applied behavior analysis services to families with children on the autism spectrum. Kimberly, thank you for coming on the interview today. So
Thank
tell us a
you.
little bit about your business and what do you do and when did you start?
So we started providing services June of last year, so 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was shutting down, and we decided to, take a shot and build our own company so that we could
Mm-hmm.
provide services that we felt were needed in our area and for the families that we serviced. So
Mm-hmm.
I started working with families on the autism spectrum several years ago, and I worked in early intervention where it's very family focused, and the families love that type of service. All
Mm-hmm.
of the providers are in the best interest of the family and the child, and everything is play based, and families really loved that kind of service. So, what we would see is once they turned 3 years old, the companies that provided those services, sometimes there would be a disconnect from the way that birth to three operated to once they turned three and were older. It was just a completely different service, and families after their child exited birth to three really wanted that type of service to still continue. So we really molded our company to provide services that are focused on the family and are built through play and focus
Mm-hmm.
on the child so that it's more of a continuum instead of just a completely different change for that family.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And what are the ages then in between use that you help with this?
So we don't really have a minimum age or a max. Well, I guess we do have a maximum. So
Okay.
as soon as the child is diagnosed, which can only be as early as 16 to 18 months, that's like really the earliest that you would see a child diagnosed with autism. We
Mm-hmm.
can work with them up until they turn 21.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would always tell a family who has a child that's under three to enroll in their birth to three system and to go through that service as well, because that is an important service that I think all
Mm-hmm.
families should have the opportunity to have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what is it exactly that made you want to start this business? Why did you choose to do this?
So I'm a clinician. I provide
Mm-hmm.
services and I have a passion for working with families and actually
Mm-hmm.
providing the direct care, direct service. Also, I felt that there was a need for moms that are working and have children to be able to provide. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it froze on my side. Um, I felt that as a mom, that I wanted to create a company that was going to also support other moms
Mm-hmm.
because it can be challenging um,
Mm-hmm.
being a mom, but also having a
Yes.
career.
Yes. That's.
And in a field full of women, I really think that we should do a better job of saying you can be the kind of mom you want to be, and you can also have your career and contribute to your family
Uh-huh.
financially.
Yeah.
So that was really important to me. I did get
Mm-hmm.
to work with a company that let me bring my son for a little bit, and I got to like wear him, like on a
Mm-hmm.
baby. And I'm so appreciative that that company
Wow.
saw
Yeah.
that I had value as a clinician, but I
Mm-hmm.
also, being a mom was so important to me that they didn't make me compromise. So that inspired me
Mm-hmm.
to see that also supports moms. So I, the people that we have working with us, some of them are moms, and I truly support how they want to be parents, whether that's working from home so that they can be with their kids,
Mm-hmm.
or if that's working schedules that um, completely fit their needs, because women shouldn't have to choose between their career and their families, in my
No,
opinion.
I agree. Uh-huh. And what are the, yeah, the areas that you serve? Is it in one specific city or across multiple cities in Connecticut?
Yeah, so we serve the Hartford County, so pretty much the central Connecticut area, but we're
Mm-hmm.
not limited. We're looking to always grow because what I'm finding is that a lot of families will call, and the wait list at other companies, and even my company has a wait list.
Mm-hmm.
It's the need is there. The need
Yeah.
in every town is there, but there's not enough people able to provide services. So I
Yeah.
don't typically turn families away. I
Mm-hmm.
just figure out how are we going to get someone to them. With telehealth, it makes it a lot more accessible. Where if a family lives an hour away from me, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily matter, because as long as I can find a staff to go in person near them, then that's all, then it works itself out.
Yeah.
So we service right now Hartford, New Britain, Hill, East Hartford, Manchester, Meriden, South Glastonbury. So pretty much all up and down 91
Mm-hmm.
south, and we're starting to go a little bit west,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
limited because there's just a huge need right now for the
Mm-hmm.
family.
Yes. And what are your short-term to long-term goals in like 6 or to 12 months from now? And where do you want to see yourself with your business?
So the people that are on our team are very special, and I always want to ask them, where do they want to see us go as well? So some of the ideas that were thrown out, I think, were phenomenal, and we're
Mm-hmm.
hoping to start an early learning center, which is a daycare essentially, but also a program that allows kids on the spectrum to have services at a place where they know that there's specialized care. And then long term, a very big goal of ours is to have more enrichment programs for our families, where we're able to
Mm-hmm.
provide cooking classes and provide
Uh-huh.
swim lessons and things like that, because teaching these kids to, sorry, my dog is like walking around.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching these kids to talk and to learn how to play and connect with others is probably the bare minimum, in my opinion, of what we could do for them. We should be
Yes.
able to show them, these are all the things that you could do, and if you have a passion, we want to nurture it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Okay, and the next question is, what have been some of your biggest challenges along your entrepreneurial journey, and what did you learn from them?
The biggest challenges was not having a blueprint of like, this is what you need to do for every step of the way. It's one of
Mm-hmm.
those that's probably the reason why a lot of people don't go out of their way to start a business, is because you think about what you want, but all of
Yeah.
the steps up to it is not a straight path.
Mm-hmm.
Nor someone say, here you go, this is the
Mm-hmm.
blueprint starting your business,
No.
unless they'll make you pay a lot of money for that. So
Yeah.
I think that was a challenge, was how do I know that I'm doing everything correctly? How do I know I'm doing all of the things I'm supposed to do?
Mm-hmm.
But luckily we're in a helping field. We're in a field where the clinicians like to help others.
Yeah.
So a lot of people helped me along the way that already started their companies.
Mm-hmm.
And then additionally, I would say another challenge was getting my name out there. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, most of our families are from referrals from
Yeah.
that we've worked with in the past, which is great. That shows that we're doing a good job, but it's hard to find people. It's hard to get our name out there for people that haven't heard of us to hear of us. So that's
Mm-hmm.
another barrier. And staffing is
Yeah.
also, everyone needs people.
Mm-hmm.
And so families' access to services depends on if we can find people, and it has to be the right person, because these individuals are going into families' homes.
Mm-hmm.
They have to show up, they have to be consistent, and they have to be, respectful and empathetic. They have to be someone that you will let into your home, that
Yeah.
you're comfortable with, and that can be an effective agent of change. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just say, well, I need someone, so you have to go. It has to be a person who is going to show up and not going to just one day stop working.
Yeah.
These depend on reliability. So that
Mm-hmm.
has been a challenge too, of just
Yeah.
where one,
Yeah. So yeah, what would you have done differently then if you were to start all over with all the knowledge and experience that you have right now?
What I would do differently is slow down,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes there's pressure to grow as quickly as you can so that you can, you know, say you have like your house, your like your bills you need to maintain, and you need to like you have to make a certain amount of money to just provide. But sometimes moving too quickly, you miss certain things, or you spend too much money when you needed to pace yourself or you needed to budget. So I think for me, I would have slowed down, and I would have probably invested more in systems earlier on so that I'm not undoing mistakes that I didn't know at the time, undoing mistakes, or, you know, doing things the right way the first time, I think is beneficial, but it is more expensive to do it the right way the first time around.
Yeah, of course. And that's why you have experience. That comes with time and experience and doing it. So that's, of course. So the next question is, how has COVID impacted your business? Has it impacted your business?
Unfortunately, I mean, my business hasn't started prior to COVID, but there were months where COVID was lower, and you see extreme change. For instance, in September, that's when all the kids went back to school, and I've had so many kids that have had to quarantine multiple times, which means they can't have services because I can't allow a staff to go in and then also carry COVID to their families, to other clients. So COVID greatly impacted that. Fortunately, I haven't had a lot of staff that needed to quarantine. But when the kids went back to school, they were sent home to quarantine, and then we were notified. So then we didn't go in. So there's a lot of people that if they're not going to these families, the families don't have services. The staff won't be able to generate any income that impacts them. In this field, most of staff are hourly until your company reaches a certain point. So there's no visits, there's no money coming in, and that is hard for the client to not have services. It's hard for the staff to make a career out of something that can have these unpredictable halts to income. And it's hard for a business to provide security for people. And it's been a huge challenge once all the kids went back to school.
Yeah, that's totally understandable. And hopefully the future will be much better. So
yeah, I think at least, you know, with the rapid test versus the PCR tests and the different guidelines and how the quarantine time is less, at least that is helpful. But it's hard because some kids that have compromised immune systems, like they have asthma, they're going to catch colds quicker. And they're going to present symptoms that we can't say, well, that's a cold. We know that's COVID, you know, unless they get a test, and test takes time.
Yeah. So. That makes sense. But yeah, hey, this was already the end of the interview. Thank you for coming on with us today. And
thank you so much for having me.
And if people want to find you, where can they look you up? Do you have a website or social media?
Yeah, our website is www.bigheartsaba.com. We're also on Facebook, that's Big Hearts ABA. And my personal email is kim@bigheartsaba.com.
Awesome. I'll put it down in the description. And again, thank you, and have a lovely day.
Thanks, you too.